You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today my special guest is Joanne Ginter. Joanne is a very accomplished business owner and registered psychologist with over 40 years of clinical experience, helping children, adults, and families in a variety of counseling and school settings. She is the author of The Fifth Positions, a guide for developing intercultural resilience and pluralism. It is my pleasure to have Joanne Ginter on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gary. It's nice being here.
So, Joanne, I gave a quick overview of your success, but can you fill in the details of what your business is all about, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
Well, I've been registered in this province since 1995, so quite a few years. I have, that's my business. I've been registered since 85. So I've been worked a lot of different settings. Like I trained in school psychology initially. So I've worked in school settings. I've worked with private sector doing assessments of children with special needs. I've worked with children with autism. And in 2001, I moved to Kingston for a little bit of time in Ontario, and actually 12 years, and went to school and got a second degree in religious studies. And the reason for that was I really felt that culture and diversity and religion needed to be part of the client's story. We needed to honor that as therapists. So when I did my training, that was quite a long time ago, we didn't honor that. And so now I really think that we need to pay attention to people's cultures, their diversity, their religious practices, their beliefs, etc. So I did that degree and focused on the relationship between religion and psychology. And then I moved back to Calgary in 2013. And so I've primarily focused on that area. Like I teach at City University Seattle on diversity and culture and a lot of other courses. And I do a lot of supervision of provisional psychologists and do some of my own private practice. So that's kind of the summation to today. And then there's some other things that I do.
Right on. Well, tell me more about that.
So quite a few years ago, I started I do a lot of things. I went to some workshops and a lot of training through the Erickson Foundation in the States. And so I got really into using hypnotic techniques and sort of like Erickson used what's called utilization. So we use what's there in the setting. It's not always about formal hypnosis. It's about integrating what's there in front of you. So if someone's interested, go look up the African Violet Lady story. It's really good. So that did a lot of that. And then I went into expressive therapies, which is like art modalities, journaling, those kind of things to integrate. So I decided to combine those. So that's the change in my practice right now I want to do what I've labeled as creative trauma focused therapy. So I've worked with trauma for my entire career in multiple capacities. And I want to combine those. So I want to help people use the arts to work in their therapy and to use those modalities like painting or, the kintsugi broken bowl idea where you repair something and you repair it to make it more beautiful. The Japanese, it's kintsugi, and it's that idea of putting gold on it. Well, you can do that as a metaphor in therapy. Like you can think about yourself as being a bowl and life has broken you. And then through the process, you repair it and you're more beautiful because we all have brokenness through our life stories. And so that I want to use those modalities to help clients do healing.
That sounds pretty neat. What do you think really sets you apart from the competition? I mean, is it some of the unique things that you've learned in the past? And like what really comes easy to you that others might find challenging?
That's a good question because I saw it when you sent it to me and I thought about it and I thought, so it's been interesting because I supervise all these young psychologists in training and these interns and teach. And so I'm promoting the next generation. So I've been thinking, what's going to set me apart from them? Because I want to be their competition. Kind of sounds funny, but I do.
Sure.
So I want to look for what I can do differently, which is the creative trauma focused therapy. I want to combine the expressive arts with hypnotic techniques, doing something different
Yeah.
for clients. And I also, I realized I can do a consultation model because one of my provisional psychologists often has me meet with her clients to do a hypnosis consultation where I do hypnosis and she maintains the primary therapist role. And so I think that that's what's going to set me apart for the next probably 15, 20 years is to keep training and keep promoting and keep looking at these kind of techniques. The other answer to your question is, I think because I've been in so many different settings for so many years, like
Hmm.
we're in Ontario, working in schools, teaching. I actually worked on the Stoney Nakoda Nation for 8 years. I've just left that role. I really value people's culture and their sense of who they are. And so I don't have an issue asking you about a question that might relate to your culture or your sense of self or your values. I find that very, well, relatively easy. I don't think anything's very easy in life, but relatively easy to do because I just hold this great respect for who everybody is.
All right. So that really, like your experience is quite broad, but then you narrow it down to quite a unique area, sort of a niche, I would
Mhm.
say.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of tips or suggestions would you give someone who wants to be more successful, whether it's business or whether it's in psychology?
That's a question I often ask myself, Gary. So I have to look at it from what the journey that I took. I think what makes someone successful is to find what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
So find that population, find that technique, find that way of being. I always say to people, why are you sitting in the chair as a therapist? What do you believe is important to help your client with? So find that part that you're passionate about. Because lots of young psychologists are like, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. And I encourage them to, who do you really want to work with? Who do you want to be motivated to work with? I wanted to work with Indigenous peoples. I feel very blessed that I had that opportunity to do that. I still can work with Indigenous people, just not on the same contract. So I think that it's about what are you passionate about and what do you want to be? So then you look at that population and then you try to say, if I was going to market myself, this is who I am. This is what I think is really
Mm-hmm.
important. And I think it's also about finding, a lot of people are advertising or looking for new offices or things like that they want to be in. And I have a couple provisionals right now who are out, just finished their exam. And so they're going to be out looking for offices. And I want to encourage people to find the place that you feel most settled. Like my
Right.
office is not a fancy building.
Mm-hmm.
It's a building that's sort of run down. It's been
Yeah.
renovated, but it's still run down. And
Yeah.
it's down on the east side of the core of downtown. It's by the Stampede grounds. Um, there's a lot of homeless people that are in that area. And I think it's about accepting all of who everybody is in society. So it's accepting people and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that they're there. And I love my building because the woman that runs it is just so kind and
Mm-hmm.
supportive. And then I also, it's because it's not a brand new shiny building. If I accidentally spill something on the carpet, I don't feel like I've destroyed something. And so I came into my office and they said, this is really homey in here. And that's what I want people to feel because that's who I am. I want you to feel at home when you come to see me. I don't want it to feel technical or
Right.
any of those
Right.
things.
So
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 I,
it's
so that's
kind of
essence,
like
find
an
who you
expression
are.
of
Yeah.
yourself. Right on, right on. What do you think one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your career and how were you able to turn that into a positive?
The biggest challenge for me was, as I think most professionals, I can't speak for all, a lot of professionals feel that they're not as good as they might be. Like I think that we kind of hold ourselves back because we go, oh, I really am not that good, or I can't do that. I'm not trying to say I'm really great. What I'm trying to say is I need to respect my strengths. And I think a lot of people cut back their strengths and they think that they need to learn this next technique. They need to learn more and more and more, when in fact they just need to practice who they are. And they
Hmm.
need to be genuine and say, you know what, I can do this really well. I can't do that well. And I'm okay with that. So I think so I overcame it by saying, this is who I am and this
Yeah.
is what I want. And I think age had a lot to do with it. And, because I've gotten wiser through the years. I'm going to have to say 20 years ago, I don't think I was quite this smart. I'm not that smart, but smarter. And I think that it's like, if I look that I have 20 years of practice left, how do I want to spend that time? What do I want to be completely devoted to? So I could have done that when I was 50 as well. What do I want to be devoted to?
Right, right. So just gaining that experience, living the life that that you feel and need
Mhm.
to express, sounds like
Yeah.
it's what you really need to do.
I think so. I think young people, like one of my people I've supervised for about 2.5 years now, she just passed the E-triple-P, the entrance exam thing.
Okay.
And I look at where she's going now. She's going to find an office near where she lives. She's going to set up her time so she can be part of her family. She was already practiced working with Indigenous people. She's going to get that license. And I just feel so happy for her.
Right on.
And
Yeah.
she developed some other special skills. And I think that's where she needs to focus. And my guess is she'll do that for about 20 years
Hmm.
and then she'll evolve.
Right, right, right. It sounds like things are going really well for you and your business. A lot of healthcare professionals are making very good income when they're actively working. The challenge is when they're not consulting or actively working, there's no income coming in. So that can be a bit of a challenge if you're a business owner who wants to keep their income levels high,
Mhm.
especially when looking towards the future. They don't want to be working so hard to create that income. So some of them are looking at different ways to create profits and income outside of the work. Things like maybe investing in stocks, bonds, crypto, or
Mhm.
using a financial planner or something like that. What are your thoughts about that at ways of creating income outside of your work?
Outside of what we do, I think that, well, I'm not the greatest financial person, so I'm not sure you should ask me for that. Be honest, that I think it's back to investing in what's most important to you. And
Right.
so I was very lucky to work on the nation, work for the government of Canada. I made a lot of money. I got to do a lot of trainings. I got to travel. Those are all wonderful things. I choosing to give up that position means a major cut in my income. So now I need to look at, again, go with what you want to be passionate about. If you're someone that wants to have a really strong financial base, then find those people to help you invest. If you're somebody that thinks I want to live life, then figure out how you want to live life. I have to plan for my trips now, Gary. I'm like a little stressed over that, but it will be good. It'll be good. And I have sons that are financial analysts, so I'm even in better shape for that
Oh,
part
there you
anyway.
go.
But
Right.
so at the same time, it's about I think I encourage my clients to think about always the stage of life that they're in.
Yeah.
So if you're like between 20 and 40, what's most important for you to develop? You want a solid financial foundation. You're most likely going to be having children. What do you want to, build in your life for them? And then you look at what is next. And so always go by the developmental stage of your life, what you want.
Yeah.
I'm not at the end of my life by any means, but I'm towards the end of my career. And at the same time, I had 3 grandchildren born in the last 3.5 months.
Mm, hmm.
And you know what's most important to me? My 4 grandchildren
Right.
and my practice. But I think that it's about looking at, so what do I need to do? I need to have the finances to spend time with the grandchildren, to
Yeah.
promote my practice, and to keep living.
Nice. Nice. As we're wrapping up our interview, what kind of exciting plans do you have in the next 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months, visit the grandkids, obviously.
Yeah.
And I really want to get the creative trauma focused therapy out there. I really want to meet with some people I know. I know a lot of people in the city in my field, and I also know some people in Edmonton and other places too, and really meet with them and try and promote it. I also I really believe that therapists, caregivers, professional caregivers, then maybe you're a psychologist, social worker, caregiver, nurse, etc., teacher, that we have a lot of stress that we carry. So I'm trying to offer things for those individuals that they can have somewhere to go and just talk. So I have a professional grief group that runs once a month on Thursdays nights. I also have a talking circle, which is a sharing circle. We just share that people can just come in, say, this is how my week is going, and people can just honor their story. Sometimes we spend so much time listening that we don't take time to honor what's happening for us. So I have that. So that's what I really want to focus on. And I have a grief group that I want to do with in the community. We used to work in grief a lot more. I worked at a funeral home when I was in Ontario, and I think it's something that just needs to be respected and supported. So that's my goals, is to work on the things I want through my practice.
Well, Joanne, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts and tips with us. It was a real pleasure to have you on the show. And Joanne, if people want to connect with you, what should they do?
Probably go to sundancerpsych.com, Sundancer Psychological Services, and then the website sundancerpsych.com.
Okay. So that's the best way.
There's a lot of information about me on there. There's a lot of information about the different types of therapy, the groups, the professional groups, information about my book, which is about the religion and culture and diversity. And it's all in there. So,
okay. Yeah. You're also on LinkedIn?
Yep.
Okay.
As me.
Right.
As Joanne.
Excellent. All
Thanks,
right.
Gary.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.